Hi guys, my name is Nick Broughton and I am a Randomfish. Hit the subscribe button and let's all be Randomfishes together, shall we? So what was I going to review this week? Well, frankly, it was going to be something that was heartfelt, that was emotional, that was something that really hit me home when I was a child. And that film is Babe. Yes, I'm talking about that movie. Released in 1995, Babe is based off of a book that was written years ago. One that, unfortunately, I have not read, and honestly, I don't really know if I want to read it. Just simply due to the fact that I know what the film is like, and if the book in any way is, well, if the film in any way deviated from the book originally, I don't really know if I'm going to feel the same way. At least, about the book. I'll be honest, if you see a film before reading a book, you tend to have the reverse effect of believing when you've read a book before a film. Same reason why I have a slight issue with the Harry Potter films. But anyway, the film is amazing. It is brilliantly shot. There is some wonderful, brilliant moments. And honestly, for what it is, it's really an emotional film. And I say this knowing full well that I first watched this back in 97 maybe? Or maybe 98? Something like that. I remember owning a cassette of this. Back when, you know, VHS cassettes were available, people. So, what's the story of this? Well, okay. We have an orphan pig named Babe. I mean, that's technically his name, even though him and all of his siblings are called Babe as well by their mother. He is then adopted, as it were, into the family of a farmer called Arthur Hoggett and his wife, Esme. Yeah, her name's Esme. While he's there, he makes friends with, and eventually he also kind of gets adopted by, a sheepdog called Fly, her mate Rex, and their litter of pups, although their litter of pups don't really go all the way through the film. They disappear halfway through, actually. It also then leads up to Arthur Hoggett making a rather interesting decision and turning Babe into what's referred to as a sheep pig, as opposed to a sheepdog. The film is filled with random animal voices, incredibly dark and ominous moments combined with very emotional and strong moments. And honestly, it's, like I said, it's just a roller coaster of emotion. It really is. First off, I want to be absolutely clear here. I am, and always will be, someone who eats meat. I don't give a damn. I'll be honest, I probably should stop, and I don't eat as much meat as maybe I used to, but I do still enjoy the odd bit of meat every now and then, and that's fine. But what gets me very much is this rather bizarre, if not very interesting belief that this film very much is a pro-vegan type of film. And I get that from where it's going, because the film very much, it talks about the whole animals being sort of grown to be food kind of thing, raised to be food. In a rather mean-spirited and very evil, like, there's various speeches being thrown in. There's a moment when the duck talks about how he wants to be irreplaceable, so that he can survive and not get, you know, killed and then eaten by the humans for Christmas over the years. There's a moment in the film where the narrator says, you know, they were talking about Christmas dinner, and it was a constant conversation to serve either roast pork or duck à l'orange, and the scene before that had involved Babe and the duck called Ferdinand trying to sneak into the house to get an alarm clock. I feel like I should explain. See, Ferdinand, like I said before, talks about trying to be irreplaceable to the farmer and his wife. So he tries to become a rooster by crowing every morning, even though he's absolutely terrible at it. However, Esme, as in Arthur's wife, does this thing. She buys an alarm clock to help her getting up in the mornings. And so Ferdinand has a little bit of a freak out, going, you know, it's a mechanical rooster, this isn't happening, oh my god, you know, if this happens and continues to happen, I might end up as Christmas dinner, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. And they try to, in vain, steal the alarm clock. And when all of that went down, we then get the conversation between, you know, choosing between roast pork or duck à l'orange, and it almost becomes very clear about the fact that Babe was going to be next up on the list, because you see Esme measuring him as if to be like, yeah, he's gonna make a nice roast pork dinner. And it's very, very sad to see, it really is. And I can understand why this film would make you want to go vegetarian, I'll be honest with you. But to me, it just didn't seem like a big issue. You know, it's a thing, it's this... Maybe it's the fact that I was half raised, you know, by going on a canal boat for years. You know, I go to various farms and whatnot, or we go via various places, and we see these things being born. And my parents were very honest with me about where meat came from and what actually happened to them. I might have learned a bit of it about it in school, but I definitely remember feeling more okay with it after spending time seeing farms and everything else. It felt more realistic that way. But going back to the point here, so the idea is that over the course of time we see these animals talking about sort of like when characters die or anything like that. We get a rather, like I said, a very bone-chilling speech actually from the cat who lives in the house. The cat gets really annoyed at Babe at some point in the film. I'll explain why in a minute. But she comes down and she tries to basically completely destabilize him. And she goes on this tirade, and I say tirade, it's a very manipulated little speech. And she talks very much like this. Very quiet, very calculated. She's almost like a serial killer. It's actually kind of entertaining. There's a brilliant way which says, you know, the fact is, pigs don't have a purpose. Just like ducks don't have a purpose. You know, and she talks about how the various animals will have a purpose. You know, the dogs help keep the sheep in line for the humans. The cows produce milk. The horses are good for riding on it as and when, you know. The cat's there to provide entertainment and, you know, and comfort for the boss. And that's another thing, actually. Something I really do like about this film is the way the humans refer to the humans. All the farm animals, including the dogs, including Babe, calls Farmer Hoggett the boss. They call him the boss, right? But the cat instantly refers to Mrs. Hoggett as the boss. Refers to Esme as the boss, but refers to Farmer Arthur Hoggett, as the boss's husband, which I think is a very genius little thing that's sort of put in there. It's that wonderful little contrast between how the animals really do view each other's people. You know, I think that's very entertaining, and it's very cool to see. But anyway, what we get is we see Arthur Hoggett and Esme Hoggett are these two people who win Babe in a competition to see how much he weighs. Not that I've ever seen anything like that in Fates before. I've never seen that. I'll be honest, I was never a massive fan of the whole guess your weight thing anyway, because I looked at that and my exact thought process was going, yeah, but isn't that just insulting no matter which way you spin it? Surely. It's just insulting no matter what way you spin it. But anyway, so after he gets introduced to that, like I said, he gets sort of adopted by Fly and her cubs. Her puppies, jeez. But there's a wonderful bit where Fly has to give up her puppies. The puppies are being sold and everything else, and Fly is there with her mate Rex, who very much sort of plays the... I'll say it, the very, attempting to be very aloof, very out-of-touch father. You know, he's the kind of guy that you'd see in some kind of Lifetime movie about the husband who just doesn't understand. You know, he's one of those type of characters. He's annoying, but he's kind of cool to watch sometimes. But there's a brilliant bit where the two of them sort of watching, and Rex sort of, I think Rex has been through it before, so he's less attached, I think, which I don't think really, like, completely eliminates his feelings. It's just he's been through it so many times that he's sort of more detached. I think for Fly, unfortunately, she might have done it before, but it still hits her emotionally every time, which I don't think helps. And there's a brilliant bit where Babe, she's lying in the barn, she's completely dejected, completely down. Hoggett comes in, gives her a quick stroke behind the ears and says, "Good dog," and goes indoors. Rex goes over as if to comfort her, then has to follow his master, has to follow the boss, so he goes off with the farmer. Babe then patters in on his little pig hooves and just goes, goes, "Fly," and she looks up and he goes, "May I call you Mom?" Instant reaction. Licking him all over, they're laughing, they're having a good time, all this sort of thing. And you know what, that's one other thing that I want to talk about real briefly. We talk about how certain animal movies are really bad because of the training or lack of training that these animals get. In this, it feels almost perfect. I know a lot of it might be animatronics, which wouldn't surprise me if it was, but at the same time, the way it's designed is very interesting. It's very fun, and I do thoroughly enjoy it, and I think it's a brilliant way of training your animals to be able to bring across emotion. It really feels emotional with these characters. The way we see, because we get a few shots, because there's a moment where Rex and Fly fall out. They have a massive falling out because Hoggett wants to start training Babe as a sheep pig. He has a moment where he wants to start training Babe as a sheep pig. And Rex hates this. He hates the fact that Babe is trying to become a sheep pig. Absolutely despises it, 100%. There's a line where he says to Fly, "You and I are descended from the great sheepdogs. We stand for something. And today I watched in shame while it was betrayed." He hates this. To the point where when Fly goes over and starts trying to talk to him in the middle of the night, he starts fighting her. He starts biting, he starts snarling, he's very annoyed, very upset, very, angry, to the point where he even bites the boss, and he instantly regrets it. And he's put on sedatives to sort of calm him down. He'll be useless as a working dog from now on, kind of thing. So Babe and Fly pretty much take on the main responsibilities. But like I said, there are moments where we see, there's a bit after the cat's sort of very manipulative speech to Babe, after Babe has been allowed in the house due to the fact of what he is now becoming. He's becoming a sheep pig, and because of his he's more linked to the dogs than he is to being a pig, Hoggett lets him in the house while his wife is away. So he lets the pig in, and the cat hates this, and like I said, the cat gives the manipulative speech. And Babe runs away because he freaks out knowing that he's not a sheep pig, he is a pig. He is, he's gonna be food, he's not gonna do any of the good stuff that he thought he was gonna be. He's gonna die. Every one of them. And there's a bit where Fly, he wakes up in the morning, she can't see him, she freaks out, she's yelling, she's trying to find him, and she runs over, and Rex, who at this point has been chained up outside underneath the cart where he's been sleeping every night, he looks up and sees her running across. And this is not only a brilliant bit of animal training, but a brilliant bit of the way it's written and the way the musical score works with this thing as well. It's brilliant. We see this dramatic music being played as Fly sort of runs over, and she's saying "Babe's run away," and her actual words are "Rex, please." Just those two words. And Rex instantly looks up. He sees her. He knows what's going on. You almost see the reaction in the dog's face, which I think is a genius thing. I don't think that's ever been done. And not something that I think is done that often, at least. Not done well, anyway. He looks up, registers everything about her within a second, and his intuition goes, "Call the boss." Instantly. 100% gone. He's trying to find him along with her. Along with the farmer. I'm getting emotional talking about this, oh my god. I'm getting emotional, damn it. But he helps find Babe. And he calls Fly and calls the boss over kind of thing. And he brings Babe back to the house and he's shivering, he's freaking out, he doesn't want to eat. And the vet goes, I have no idea what's going on, I have no idea what the hell's going on. All I know is that if you don't get some fluids in him soon, he's not going to make it. And you aren't even going to get him to the trial, to the Sheepdog Championship like you want to. And again, Rex is shown to have massive problems with Babe. Absolutely massive problems. But it's wonderful how they sort of make his character this character who makes this massive mistake, not only learns from it, but realizes exactly where this is going. And you don't need this big, long, dramatic thing for him. You see it in his actions. The way he sort of reacts to Fly when she runs out saying that Babe's run away, and the way he runs to try and help Babe. And in this scene, he patters on over to Babe and just says, you have to snap out of this. Like, the boss needs you right now. And again, brilliant bit of animal directing. You see the dog licking the pig, like in his face, trying to make him feel better, trying to be nice, being affectionate, everything else that you see. And honestly, again, you don't see that in a lot of films now. It's all very reactionary. It's all very, like, you know, very toys in front of the camera. Cats and Dogs, I feel like, is one of the best reactions to that, actually. That film still gets me emotional sometimes as well, but not as much as this one. This one really gets me emotional. I don't know why. I'm close to crying right now. Oh my god. But again, Rex is very supportive. He's very much like that. And there's a brilliant bit where we actually get to the sheepdog trials, and Babe is trying to talk to the sheep, and the sheep aren't responding. They're just going meh. Because throughout the film, the reason why Babe is such a good sheep pig is that he talks to the sheep. He actually convinces them to do things for him without being aggressive like the dogs are. And there's a brilliant bit where the sheep as characters, they can't tell the difference between the farmer's dogs and wolves. Now, the dogs recognize this as the sheep being dumb, but for the sheep anyway, they're the same creature. The difference is that the dogs don't kill anybody, but they might do, and that's what gets the sheep so scared of them. And I think that's a genius bit of characterization to put in there for that kind of story. And that's just genius to have in there. I'd love that to be something that's more explored in future, actually, in like a future movie at some point in time. But like I said, there's a brilliant bit where Babe is talking to the sheep, but the sheep aren't responding at the trials, at the championship. And Fly is sort of being like, I don't know what to do, I don't know what to do about him. And Rex has a moment where you see his voice, his overdubbed voice of saying, hey, wait, stop. And he flies forward, and there's a moment where Hoggett is really, like, he's watching and being like, right, what's going to happen here, kind of face. Because he sees these two dogs together in what looks like a very dangerous situation, and he's hoping these two don't go at each other again. And they're just talking, and it's brilliant, because she goes, I don't know what to do, like, they won't listen to him. And Rex goes, give me a minute, I'll try and be back in time. He runs off, talks to the sheep, which I think is brilliant, and he gets this advice from the sheep about how to sort of get the sheep to listen to Babe at the championships. And there's a bit where everyone's laughing at the pig for being on the field, like herding the sheep, and we see Rex run onto the field in full blast. You think you see an actual dog whispering to the pig, which again, brilliant bit of animal directing. And he runs off again without a single issue, pegs it out of there, jumps next to Fly and just be like, right, now it's up to him. And they watch from the back, they watch him do his thing, they watch him basically be awesome at it, and they reconcile, like they're kissing at the end, like you see them both licking each other at the end, and it's cute, and it's oh my god, yes! And it's so interesting and so cool to see that type of film. Babe Pig in the City has the exact same sort of mentality as well. But I so prefer the first one because the first one has this very well-rounded story, and it's great because it's a story that it's like the pig version of Bambi. It's a slice of life. That's all it is. And nothing more, nothing less. And it's filled with like these ups and downs, but at the end of the day, it is that animal's life. And that's genius. I would love to have seen like an end scene with Babe all older and living in the barn or something, and have like either like a very old fly, or have one of her like future puppies who's grown up and now back in Hogwarts like sort of world pads in and sort of says, you know, Dad is here, and Rex sort of pads in, and just have the two of them literally have that conversation and be like, I know that you're awesome at what you do. I know you're awesome at what you do. And have, like, I don't know, like this really tender moment where the two of them could, like, I don't know, either really die together or just have Babe look out on the farm and be really happy at what he's seeing and have him lie down. Like, a little bit like Watership Down, when Hazel just doesn't die for any battle. He lived through everything, and he's old and he's weary, and he's just like, I'm going to go to sleep and join the black rabbit in the sky. And join Ephrafa. You know, not Ephrafa, sorry, join the Owsler for the black rabbit. That'd be brilliant. But anyway, I feel like that's not the way that I know they would have ended the film, because that's really depressing. But at the same time, I would have loved it if they'd done that. Just from my own perspective. But you know what? That's me talking about Babe. Babe Pig in the City and Babe, the first one, are amazing films. But I recommend the first one. If you have Netflix, check it out. It is on Netflix. Watch it now. If not, you can find it on DVD almost anywhere. I think Blu-ray as well. I'm not entirely sure, but I will double check that. I think you should double check that, especially if you're going to order from Amazon. And you know what? With all that being said, Randomfish out.